thank you for participating in this year's Life School golf tournament, either as a golfer or as a caddy. We very much appreciate your participation, and I know the people, the pastors of Africa, will appreciate it very much as well. One of the things that we have learned over the last 2 years is that those golfers and caddies who are familiar with the Life School story have been very successful in raising funds, whereas those who are not as familiar with the story have not been as successful. So we wanted just to take a few minutes to share with you the vision and the purpose of Life School. Life School is a 501c3 tax-deductible charitable institution that provides training materials to pastors. One study shows that about 62% of the world's pastors worldwide have no formal Bible school training. And Brian and I, as we've traveled to Africa, has found this to be the case. And that is the purpose of Life School, to provide them with training materials. We have 7 classes, about 800 pages of notes. We also provide audio teachings for all sessions using a Mega Voice unit, which is much like a solar-powered iPod. We provide that at no cost to the pastors, about 800 pages of notes. They go through, they take tests, and they complete the modules. Once they've completed the modules, they get a diploma, and they go through a formal graduation service, which is really one of the highlights of their life.
I was so moved by a story I heard from Pastor Evans. He's one of our Life School leaders in Western Kenya, where there's a lot of poverty. He was telling us how this pastor who herds cow for a living took the Mega Voice unit, took a shoestring, tied it around his neck, and for 8 hours a day listened to the teachings as he was herding cow. Another pastor told me the story of how one of his pastor friends he was mentoring was so moved by the Life School materials that he took the notes, fasted for 3 days, prayer and fasting, and just so he could get a better understanding of the Life School material. One of the things that I love about Life School that just really moves my heart is how local leaders in Africa are taking the materials out into places that we could never ever go. One of our pastors in Tanzania, Pastor David, he calls them the forgotten ministers of God, and they're people who live out in the rural areas where it's unreachable by car. Life School is getting out there into that area, and it's transforming pastors in a powerful, powerful way. One leader will hand it off to 10 of his friends, who then give it to 10 of their friends, who give it to 15 of their friends, and it's just growing virally as God is just blessing Life School and seeing it multiply.
Life School is making a tremendous impact in East Africa. We introduced Life School in Kenya and Tanzania in February of 2010, and we registered at that time 86 pastors. By the end of 2010, we had grown from 86 registered pastors to 157. Between 2010 and 2011, we had an exponential growth of 300%. We went from 157 to about 600 pastors registered in the program. In 2012, we had a leaders meeting in Nakuru, Kenya, where we gathered regional leaders from Kenya, Tanzania, Zambia, and Malawi. And as we did that and sent them back out into the fields, since that time in June, they have registered 240 new pastors. So right now, we have about 840 pastors who are either in the program currently or have graduated from the program. Now, the combined congregations of those 840 pastors is about 94,000 members, and that's the impact that Life School is having upon East Africa.
So Jesus gave the church a great commission. He said, go into all the nations and preach the gospel and make disciples, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you. And so I just want to say, as a golfer or a caddy, When you're participating in this year's golf tournament, you are actually participating in the Great Commission. Not everyone is called to go to Africa. Not everyone is called to go to the nations, but we all are called to participate in the Great Commission. And so as a golfer or a caddy in this year's golf tournament, you are really participating in the Great Commission. When you raise money, when you make the effort, when you ask your friends and family to support this work, you really are giving pastors the resources they need to see their lives transformed, to see their churches transformed. You're allowing these pastors to be equipped with resources they need to see their vision fulfilled, to see their churches trained. So I just want to encourage you, even as you're going through this, if you feel like it's too hard, or maybe you don't feel like doing it one day, or you don't, sometimes it just might be a struggle for you. Just envision the guy who is herding cow in the middle of nowhere with a mega voice unit tied around his neck. Just envision the pastor who locks himself away for 3 days in prayer and fasting trying to get these materials. I mean, just see the forgotten ministers out in the rural areas. Envision them getting the materials they need to be equipped, because I'm telling you, your work really is meeting that need. And so I just want to encourage you as a golfer and caddy, just continue in it and persevere, because you're doing a great work.